Hey y'all, Coach Energy here. I am back to ask a question. So initially, I wanted to record an episode this week based off of what's been what we've heard and seen regarding Tina Campbell and her husband Teddy's their marriage slash divorce that was announced recently. And I initially wanted to record an episode surrounding the idea of trust issues and having trust issues after going through a marriage or being in a marriage or in a relationship in general, and then if it seeing if if it does end up leading to divorce or separation or a breakup. However, I was presented with an actual question to answer, and it still pertains to that same relationship that's been here that's been put out to the public for years, but including the most recent divorce announcement. And so the question that was presented to me to talk about was, well, and it was asked according to the individual and their own situation. And it's definitely a few lessons that can be taught out of what we're seeing publicly versus what the person who asked the question, what they're experiencing individually, because it actually is something that is common where a lot of people have experienced or are currently experiencing it themselves. And so ultimately, the question that was asked was, if I walk away now, would that time have just been wasted? So I'm going to talk about the concept and the idea of years or time being wasted, walking away versus not wanting to lose out, in quotations, lose out on the time and the investment of money and resources and children and whatever else may have been created within that particular relationship or marriage. So, again, if I walk away now, was it all just wasted? And I first want to just say that this particular thought or the idea of it or the reason behind it is a thought that a lot of people have, and it's because of that thought that tends to keep people in a relationship or a situation or a marriage too long. I say too long, based off of course, I'm not here and no one can tell someone else, what to do as far as making decisions within their relationship. Should they leave or should they go? Should they stay or should they go? But we all have heard of different things going on in relationships where it's like, yeah, uh, if I were you, if I were in your shoes, I would leave. Or if I were you, if I were in your shoes, I would stay. And so just kind of understanding that, I definitely want to start off with that. I'm not here to make a decision for anyone or to say, hey, this is what this person should have done. So I'm just here to kind of help explain that why that thought and that feeling comes from both men and women. Why that thought and that feeling comes when needing to decide what to do about a relationship. And so, again, just that thought itself is something that tends to hold people in a situation where otherwise themselves they may have decided to walk away or to leave and to let it go. But it's also that particular thought or reason as to why some people who have already left the relationship or have already left the marriage or the situation, they still have feelings of like guilt, feelings of grief because they're not satisfied or in full agreement within themselves that the decision to walk away was a good decision or was a wise decision. And so I want to just kind of touch on that for a little bit. And so the first point that I want to talk about is the concept of walking away or leaving from a relationship and after however much time was invested or put into it, that there was nothing good that came from that relationship. And in order to be able to walk away and feel satisfied with like no regrets, you have to be able to look at it in a different way. Don't look at it as in a sense of, oh, well, nothing good came from that. No, look at it as, okay, what good came from that? So, a few quick examples could be if children were created in the relationship or in that marriage. So, you got beautiful blessings out of that relationship. So, your children is something that you can hold on to and remember or think of as, you know what, that time in that relationship, it wasn't all wasted because I've got my child or I've got my children. Excuse me. The next, another thing that could be helpful to think about is the growth that you may have had. So, like, basically asking yourself or looking back at saying, okay, prior to this particular relationship or marriage, who was I? What were my thoughts? What were my belief systems? What what did I have or what didn't I have? Excuse me, versus now, present day, after leaving that relationship or that marriage, this is what I have now. This is what I've been able to improve upon. This is an area in my life that I've been able to increase and grow in, and basically just see growth. So I would say look inward and determine, like, okay, how am I better? How have I grown? How have things improved for me and within myself because of that relationship? And 9 times out of 10, I almost want to say guaranteed 100%, but of course, I try not to speak in absolutes. But 9 times out of 10, you will be able to find something that you can say, you know what, because of that relationship, I am a better person in this area. And so that's one of the other things that I would challenge anyone to just take some time and kind of do like that inventory, that self reflection, that inventory of, okay, it couldn't all have been bad. So therefore, that time together wasn't wasted, whether it been 6 months, whether it had been just a year or 5 years, 10 years, or in Tina and Teddy's case, 25 years. So something good had to have come from that situation, even if it's something small, but something good had to have come from being in that relationship or that situation. So I definitely challenge you or anyone that is having a hard time with having walked away or having a hard time with deciding to walk away because of that thought of, I don't want to have just wasted all of this time and everything that we may have built together. The next thing to consider is the clarity that you should have now after being out of the relationship. If you chose to walk away and let it go, there should be some sort of sense of clarity that you have, whether it be clarity on, okay, well, who am I? What does love mean to me? What are my values? What's my my standards for what I deem as being love shown towards me? What will I put up with? What will I not put up with? So those types of things that will clarity is something that you can also gain if you're looking back on having left a situation, being able to see that you have clarity in certain areas or certain topics will also be a way to help you not have that thought of, but man, if I leave or because I left, I feel like that time or those years were wasted. And one more point, kind of talking about, I kind of mentioned it a moment ago about that self-love or your standards. Another thing is you should now be able to say, okay, my capacity for love has grown. My capacity to love someone else has increased and has grown, has stretched from what it may have been prior to me getting into that relationship. But then now, well, when being in the relationship and then having exited or in the process of maybe deciding to exit, throughout the relationship itself, you should have been able to see that, you know what, my capacity to love another person has also grown and it has improved. And so those are just a few things that a lot of people they don't think about whenever they're in a relationship and it's things aren't necessarily going well and they're needing to decide, okay, should I call it quits or should I stay and keep trying? And if they know that it's probably not the best decision to stay and keep trying, that thought of, but man, I don't want to waste that time. I don't want to waste the years, the money, the resources, or whatever, if I do end up leaving. So yeah, I just like to challenge people to just really take a moment and think about, okay, but what good came out of that situation or what good did come out of that relationship? So, to also help with answering that question of, or to help alleviate the thought, rather, of time being wasted, I want to help you consider the why. Like, why do people call it or define it as time being wasted? Because that feels heavy. That is a very heavy thought, a heavy feeling, and no one wants to just waste time. Like, just in general, in life, period, no one wants to waste time. And so my explanation is typically, and I say typically because for a lot of people, the they tend to connect it or relate it to the fact that, man, I was blind in this relationship, or like I should have known better, or feelings of like being naive, or for some people, they may feel weak. And so they will tend to have those feelings and relate it to, if they walk away, then this is what it means, which ultimately, I guess if I choose one particular word to describe it, would be feelings of like shame. It's the label of the feeling of shame that gets attached to it that have people feeling that it was a waste of time, or the relationship itself was a waste. So yeah, just help try to redefine it, and helping people. That's what this video is about, helping people to understand and redefine that, hey, the time itself is not what you should be looking at. And so not attaching that feeling or that emotion of shame to it will also help with people accepting that, you know what, maybe it is time to walk away, and it does not mean I'm a failure. It does not mean that the relationship was a waste of time or anything like that. Adding another little point here, because Tina and Teddy, they are in the gospel industry. Of course, you would hear a lot of people talk about, oh, well, maybe he or she shouldn't have walked away, or maybe they should try harder, maybe they should love harder, or more specifically, maybe, they should just pray about it and pray harder or pray longer or give it more time. And I'm a Christian, so as much as I am a believer in prayer, I am also a believer in the fact that leaving or walking away from a relationship or even a marriage is actually God honoring in a lot of cases. Not all, but a lot of cases, walking away is actually honoring God. Walking away is a sign of self-respect. Walking away is actually very courageous. And so for as much as I'm also someone who prays about a situation, sometimes prayer is just not enough. It requires us to take action. It requires us to take steps and to make some moves, make some choices, and make some decisions um, as we still continue to honor God. And so some people have a question, and this is part of the original question that was presented that prompted this particular video. Part of the question and what a lot of people may ask or wonder, like, okay, I've left the situation, I've left that relationship, I've left that marriage, so now what? What do I do next? What is there for me to do? And I wanted to pull that up or talk about it in particular because a lot of people will tend to actually now waste time because they're still kind of sitting in a better the best word to describe it is like grief. They're still kind of sitting in like this sulking period, this period of just not thriving, not moving and shaking, not getting up, getting out, and continuing to make moves in their life and to continue to be productive in life. And so the now what is to get up and get going, get up and move, get up and follow the path of discovering your purpose. If you haven't discovered your purpose already, follow the path of doing the work to try to find what your purpose is in life. Or if you have found your purpose in life, if you are aware of it, the next thing to do is to, okay, work or walk in your purpose. At the end of the day, get up and don't just sulk, don't just sit around, don't just sit in the sense of like woe is me type of thing. You want to get up and like renew yourself and redefine yourself. And in that growth that comes with being in a relationship is to also redefine your belief system if you need to do that. And so at the end of the day, don't just sit around, don't just sulk in and eat ice cream and is it bonbons? I don't know. I've never had them, so I don't know exactly what it is. Just know some sort of like cake, Debbie cake type of thing. But yeah, don't just sit around and eat ice cream and cakes and cookies and have your windows closed and no sunlight coming in. No, get up and keep thriving. Get up and continue to work towards your purpose in life. And so let's start closing out. One thing that I want you to do is to take a few moments. It may take you a few seconds and just really think about three things. Try your best to think about three things that you can say of from the before you entered. Think about any relationship. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be the current relationship that you're in or the most recent relationship that you left. Just think about a relationship that may have been difficult for you while you were in it, or it may have been a relationship that was difficult for you to leave when when you were prepping to leave. And so with that, I want you to think about three things that you know about yourself today that you didn't know about yourself prior to being in whatever particular relationship that you are going to use for this particular example. So think about things that you did not know about yourself or things that you didn't have or didn't know how to do. And what I really want you to focus on as you're thinking about the three things is to think about what three things that you improve upon, what three things that you attain, what three things that you or areas did you have growth. And that's how we can help when it comes to thinking about, okay, I probably don't need to be in this relationship, but we have invested so much time. I personally have invested so much time, so much money, so many resources. So should I just keep staying or for fear of not wanting to waste any of that? So yeah, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that answered the question. And a lot of us deal with this at some point in our lives, or not all, but a lot of us have dealt with it at some point in our lives where we're like, man, I want to go, but it I've put too much into it. So what should I do? Should I stay or should I go type of thing? And hoping that with the points that I brought up today, excuse me, that it helps out and it gives clarity to the person that asked the question, as well as anyone else that came across this video. And especially now with the things being hot right now, and very active when it comes to Tina Campbell and Teddy's marriage. And so, if this helped you, give me a thumbs up. If this helped you, put a comment below and let us know if you have a question about it. If there was something that you want me to explain a little bit more, or something that I didn't bring up in just these few minutes, put your question down in the comment section, or feel free to email me whatever your follow-up question is. If there's another video that you would like for me to record about it, kind of like a part two or whatever, definitely let me know. Go to the description of this video and look for the link that says Ask Coach Enrgy, and that is where you can also submit your question, or you can just email me directly and let me know if this video was helpful, or how it was helpful for you. And if there's someone that you know that could be that could use that could use this video based off of maybe something that they're currently going through, share it. Copy this link and send it to them, share it to them, so hopefully this video can be a blessing to them. And until the next time, you guys, talk to you soon. Bye bye.